This time on Scott's Adventures, we're at the Bowers Museum and we're going to see the Terracotta Soldiers all the way from China. We're here at the Bowers Museum with Mom and Lily, and we're going to go in and see the Terracotta Soldiers, among other things. But it's only here for a limited amount of time, and I've kind of been wanting to see this for a long time, so it should be really fun. You guys looking forward to it?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Do we have expectations of what we're going to see?
Well, supposedly they're supposed to each be individual. They're not all the same at all.
They're actually modeled after
Yes.
real people, the real soldiers.
Yes.
And they all have individual expressions and
Yeah.
features.
How many were like 10,000 or something?
Yeah, I think the total there was thousands, and then they buried the whole thing. And then it wasn't until a long time came that somebody discovered it and said, "Wow."
I think they would have known about all those years, passing down the information.
Right, but at some point people just forget.
Yeah.
And then the Terracotta Army is a collection of terracotta sculptures depicting the armies of Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. The figures were discovered in 1974 by a local farmer. They vary in height according to their rank, the tallest being the generals. The figures including warriors, chariots, and horses. Estimates from 2007 were that the 3 pits containing the Terracotta Army hold more than 8,000 soldiers, 130 chariots with 520 horses and 150 cavalry horses, the majority of which remain in situ in the pits. Other non-military terracotta figures have since been found in other pits, including those of officials, acrobats, strongmen, and even musicians. The construction of the tomb was described by historian Sima Qian in the Records of Grand Historian. Sima Qian wrote that the first emperor was buried with palaces, towers, officials, valuable artifacts, and wondrous objects. According to this famous account, 100 flowing rivers were simulated using mercury, and above them the ceiling was decorated with heavenly bodies, below which lay the features of the lands of China which the emperor had unified. Although these elements of Sima Qian's account on the structure of the mausoleum have been seen as credulous, the detection of high levels of mercury that were found in the soil of the tomb mound following the discovery of the mausoleum site have since given credence to Sima Qian's account. The Terracotta Army is part of a much larger necropolis. Ground-penetrating radar and core samples have measured the area to be approximately 98 square kilometers. The necropolis was constructed as a microcosm of the emperor's imperial palace or compound, and covers a large area around the tomb mound of the first emperor. The earthen tomb mound is located at the foot of Mount Li, and built in a pyramid shape, and is surrounded by 2 solidly built rammed earth walls with gateway entrances. The necropolis consists of several offices, halls, stables, and other structures, as well as an imperial park placed around the tomb mound. After excavation of the Terracotta Army, the painted surface presented on some terracotta figures began to flake and fade. The lacquer covering the paint can curl in 15 seconds once exposed to the dry air, and can flake off in just a few minutes. Of the more than 2,000 terracotta human figures that have been excavated so far, each has vivid facial characteristics with distinct cheekbones, noses, mustaches, beards, and wrinkles. This strongly suggests that the figures are portraits of individual commanders and soldiers in the Qin army. This model shows the production process of the terracotta warriors. A variety of ceramic techniques were employed, including coiling, roiling, and slab building. Molds were also commonly employed. All figures were fitted first and then painted. The manufacture of these figures involves specialized labor that was organized and supervised by officials. The Terracotta Army figures were manufactured in workshops by government laborers and local craftsmen using local materials. Heads, arms, legs, and torsos were created separately and then assembled. When completed, the terracotta figures were placed in pits in precise military formation according to rank and duty. Pit number 1 is rectangular, containing approximately 6,000 warriors and horses. Most of the warriors are infantry support, with chariots and stand in formation in 11 parallel trenches. New excavations were conducted at the northern end of Pit number 1 from 2009 to 2022, exposing an area of 515 square yards. In total, 220 warriors, 16 horses, 4 chariots, and a large quantity of weapons were found. When they were made, terracotta figures were all colorfully painted. Most of the color has since disappeared, but varying degrees of pigmentation remain on some figures. Paint was originally layered on top of a brown lacquer coating applied to the surface of the figures. The pigments include white, black, red, pink, purple, blue, yellow, and green, are mostly made from minerals. From restoring terracotta figures to the construction of the site museum, conservation has been an integral part in the archaeological investigation of the first emperor's mausoleum. In the 21st century, scientists have incorporated the latest technology to conserve objects made with organic materials, especially the pigments on the terracotta figures. Recently, a new mobile climate-controlled lab has been built on the top of the excavation unit at pit number 2, allowing excavation and conservation to be conducted simultaneously. Clad in trousers and an armor-covered double-layered tunic, this kneeling archer gazes forward intently. His hands appear to be holding a crossbow. Perhaps he is preparing to fire or awaiting a command. Given his humble pose, simple attire, and that he was found with dozens of horse skeletons, this kneeling terracotta figure is thought to be a stable attendant. Archaeologists believe that these horses were from the first emperor's palace stables, and this figure was intended to see to them in their afterlife. In 2023, 9 large tombs with ramps were discovered. Two of these tombs were excavated, revealing chariots buried within them. Remarkably, some of the bronze fittings were well preserved. The pictured chariot with two poles is the earliest of its kind found in China so far. The poles are about 4 yards long, and the width between the two wheels is 2 yards. It was elaborately painted with lacquer and fitted with bronze ornaments. Chariots not only played a military role in ancient China, they also served as symbols of power and status. These two-wheeled vehicles could be drawn by 2 or 4 horses, connected by a single shaft. Their wheels, hubs, and yokes were reinforced with bronze fittings to enhance their stability and durability. Between 1200 BCE and the end of the Qin dynasty in 206, elaborately decorated chariots were often buried in large tombs or in adjacent pits, wearing body and shoulder armor over a long tunic. This terracotta warrior represents an infantryman in the Qin army, standing attentively with an austere expression. It is likely that he originally held a crossbow in his right hand. Well, that pretty much does it here for Scott's Adventures. Here from the Bowers Museum of the Terracotta Soldiers. Thanks for watching. Bye.